Now I know this is a Yuri review video, but I need you guys to see this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
이제 끝이 내볼까요?
GG.
7K dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at Mythical Awakened Yuri, and she is an amazing unit. And why do I say that? It's because she opens up so many possibilities right now based on her passive. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at her in Heavenly Stairs, and you saw previously just now the damage, the output that MELIA can do. Now, is she necessary in Heavenly Stairs though? I would say not really, especially this week. I mean, she is very good, but this week it is not very good for her because the enemies will reduce awakening gauge every skill they use. So she's not able to use her awakening skill, which actually increases your damage output on offensive, magic and universal type enemies. Okay. However, she does have a passive that is growing her crit rate, the crit rate of all your allies, and also growing the crit damage of all your allies. So that makes her superior to Espada. Even though Espada lets you, do 10% more damage to the enemies, but I don't think that is a very big factor compared to crit rate increase and crit damage increase. So Sage is over here to decrease the defense up to 5 turns, okay, by a maximum of 50%. So that is why I'm actually delaying my MELIA skills to the 4th and 5th turn. This will maximize her damage output because you want your enemy's defense to be at their lowest, and hence, look at the damage here. It's pretty insane, okay, it's pretty insane. Her top skill doesn't really do too much. It decreases their physical and magic attack by 50% for 8 turns, which is very good because if you are a player who doesn't have very good armor, then I think the top skill can protect you for extended period of time. Okay, MELIA is just slaying over here, and I think this is pretty much the way the players, those top players, got their top ranking. And I know a lot of people are going to compete after this, so good luck to you. I'm not going to show you guys any equipment for this video because it's a Yuri review video. If there is a need, I will make a separate video for Heavenly Stairs itself and all the other modes, okay? So back to Yuri's top skill, it doesn't do too much, but it removes buffs. So having the ability to remove buffs is giving her the capability to replace Soy in Guild Dungeon, okay? That's one thing. As you can see here, she replaces Espada here, and she has an edge because of the critical rate increase. So what about other modes? Now, the most direct comparison for her will be to Rachel. Rachel has the same skill that increase damage taken for the enemies as well as decrease their defense by 70%. Now, in this case, you will realize that what makes Rachel and her different is that on Rachel's skill, she does not have the skill cooldown, decreased cooldown. Okay, but for Yuri, the decreased cooldown is on that same skill, which means there is sometimes a little bit of inefficiency because sometimes you will want to reduce cooldown for your allies, but you can't because that skill itself is on cooldown. However, for Rachel, since it is on 2 separate skills, okay, it can be better and sometimes maybe more time efficient, such that you can use Phoenix and then you can cool down and you can reapply Phoenix when the need comes, or you can continuously try to cool down your allies' team, okay? And that's one thing I felt when I was trying to use Yuri. Now, if you don't use that strategy, okay, previously, because I was quite confused how people got 9 turns. So if you didn't plan MELIA skills according to such, you will end up like this in 17 turns or even 20 turns, okay, because MELIA just won't do enough damage if you don't make use of that defense decrease from Sage. So apparently, because you cannot use defense decrease debuffs in Heavenly Stairs, so Sage is very useful. That's why people are using Sage. So apparently the passive works. And I'm not sure if that's a thing, but yeah, it works. So let's just use him. And beyond that, Yuri in Heavenly Stairs, that's her role. That's her main role. Of course, you didn't get to see her use her Awaken skill much because, of the current buffs the enemy has. But in future weeks, when the buffs don't exist, okay, when the reduction in Awaken gauge doesn't exist, she can use her Awaken skill and inflict more damage. Now, if you look at this raid run, now we're going on to raid, by the way. This raid run only requires 4 skills. Now I have to put a very big disclaimer here that it is not the most stable strategy yet. Okay, it's something I was just testing and I came across this. And you will realize that Yuri does help you push the boundary. I completed this run in about 1 minute, which is insanely fast compared to a lot of current strategies. The fastest I've seen so far is 1 minute 15 seconds or so, but this one you can hit 1 minute 5, 1 minute 6, 7, 8, which saves you 7 seconds, and that may look very little, but you know, if you think about farming in the long run, it can save you a lot of time. It only requires 4 skills, so you are done by turn 4. Now the thing is, it is not stable as I said, but you know, look at the damage Velika can do. 24 million. Okay, but take into consideration that when I fought this dragon, he was already left with 1 million HP. So the lethal mechanics came into play. Now, if you are fighting the dragon at a much higher HP, you know, she may not be able to do that much. That is because the lethal mechanics are still not warmed up yet. Okay, so but there were times when it succeeded. That's just what I want to say. So Yuri can help to push the boundary, and that is because of her passive, which is the crit rate increase. Because with that 50% crit rate, you can actually save on one weapon for Velika. Okay. Now we're looking in Isabella, guild rate Isabella. So I've tested her in 3 different areas, and unfortunately, I have to say that my run in this Isabella run is very bad. Okay, it's really very bad. Very unfortunate as well. So this is my second run, so I didn't have a chance to try anymore. Basically what you do here is just to use her bottom skill, which is the Phoenix so-called. Now we call it the Fox Soul. And cast the debuff on Isabella, buff your Velika with her own buff and Fenrir's buff, and then you can actually spam away. Okay, but make sure you heal. Always heal when Isabella uses her third skill, which is the one that increases the damage you take. So you have to heal and remove that debuff, otherwise you will take a lot of damage. So over here I'm using Rosie, but you don't have to use Rosie. You can use Hayong or Lina, okay? But I'm using Rosie for the magic attack increase as well. You can use Hayong because Hayong also gives you poison resist, so that's very good, and more defense. So I've yet to try that, and this is actually the first time in almost half a year since the day guild rate level 10 came out. The first time I'm doing this, okay? So pardon me all the mistakes I made, it's really very bad. As you can see here, my Yuri's awakened skill and Velika's awakened skill is ready. So that is the crux. You have to try to put them together, because Yuri will buff Velika's damage output by increasing the damage down to Isabella. Unfortunately, okay, this is the most unfortunate part. All my buffs, my Fenrir's buff, disappeared at this point. It's only like turn 9, but my Fenrir's buff ran out, so I did really little. I think you can actually hit about 7 million on that awakened skill. Now think about if you use Seek. Seek can actually reset, and then you can get another 7 million-ish, and that will push your score to a really good number. Unfortunately here, things just started to screw up, and when I was trying to use my Velika skill, somehow it always coincided with her skill that reduces magic attack, so my damage was always not high. From what I have observed, the most my Velika did was about 1.1 million per regular skill with the Fenrir buff. Okay, so I think that is her maximum damage output. No, it's actually not. I'm sorry. You have to take into consideration that I don't have the fighter soul for magic attack, and I don't have the fighter soul for increased damage done to magic enemies. Okay, so those two are huge factors. Firstly, I'm lacking 20% more damage because she's a magic enemy, and I'm also lacking like I think 20% magic attack boost. So that's a very huge factor that is missing. So I think Velika can do a lot more, and if you are a magic user, or rather the fighter soul is slanted towards magic type, then I think you should be capable of doing a lot more than what I'm doing here. And in fact my plays were pretty bad, and that and the moment Aragon dies, right, so many things just, you know, are just off, because you can't reduce awakening gauge. Isabella has eliminate when she uses her awaken skill, so you don't have the you don't have the reduction, and then that's gonna be a problem. So you can only just do whatever you can from here. And I did fast forward the video, there's a cut in between, okay, so otherwise, because you're just seeing the same strategy, and in fact I'm not even gonna talk much about the strategy because it's a Yuri review video. So what I feel about Yuri is actually she's a very good support unit, and so far she has been able to push all the boundaries for the PvE modes, for me especially. So I'm not sure if you will experience the same thing, but I think she's really good, and she's her passive is just really what makes her. I've yet to test her in Guild Dungeon, so that's something to look forward to in future maybe. And also I think she's capable to be used in PvP, which I will try to make a video for maybe later this week as well. So if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, do like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much, and see you!